what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is
SPTV.
With the old SPTV intro on that one.
And it was different tonight.
Yeah. Sometimes I like to mix it up. Hey, I like your hat.
I know we didn't even try for this, guys. We're that in sync. Actually, it's just I have really dirty hair and I have to wash it tomorrow. I had a football game tonight, Huxley's last game.
I have the same problem. I was having a bad hair day.
Yeah. Aaron, you look good in a hat. I feel like we need to do this more.
Well, thank you. I think I told you the reason I don't wear hats very often is I feel like it's false advertising. I feel like, let's say I'm hanging out at the cigar bar, which I don't do anymore, but let's just say that I was.
Okay.
If I'm hanging out and people see me with the hat and then I take the hat off, people are going to go, oh, okay. Now we get why you were wearing the hat. And then I feel like you got to go in full bald or you got to stick with the hat the whole time. You can't do a bait and switch. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I think we need to do a deep dive on that because no one thinks that except you. Literally nobody. I mean, hats are for hiding bad hair. Like you don't have any hair, you can just throw a hat on. Plus, guys look good in ball caps. Like there's just a thing, but I think girls do too. I just think you're being silly again, and we need to do a deep dive.
I think I look good with it. I think I look good without it. I cannot transition from with it to without it. It's got to be one or the other. That's all I'm saying.
It's just weird.
That's all I'm saying.
It's uncomfortable.
Okay, so we have another recorded call. And we don't even need to set the stage. Let's just play the call. People like the calls. Let's just jump into it, right? Is there anything anything framing? Any framing?
Yeah. Let's frame it a little bit. So the last call, which maybe not everyone was here for, it ended with Brenda, because I want to clear this word for you guys. It ended with Brenda saying, we were talking about her submitting a CSW, which is completed staff work, is what that stands for. And she was submitting one to get to go see her new grandbaby be born. A CSW is just like submitting for PTO, for time off at a job. That's what it's for. It's submitting that. The harder part about being in Scientology versus a real job is you work for that time, you get it approved. Usually it's not a problem. In Scientology, like if in Brenda's case specifically, her submitting this, it has to go through like 6 to 10 people and get approved. It's not just like your boss. It has to go through many, many levels of people. So that's where we're starting, because it ended the last call with her submitting it, and then we're talking about it as we start the call. I think this one's kind of boring, but
actually, we'll see. It's not a long one. It's not a very long one.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna keep it the format like last time, where the audio stays off screen, and we're just gonna keep our big old faces on screen. By the way, are you sponsored by Brown Hats?
No, Aaron, I'm not. Are you sponsored by Grape Nuts?
Ridge Wallets, folks. Check the link in the description down below.
I should have some sponsors because I do advertise some stuff typically. Yeah, we need to talk about that.
All right, let's rock and roll. Guys, just confirm for me in the live chat when I hit this that you can hear the audio, please.
And I was gonna tonight write a CSW to go to I want to be there for the birth of the baby.
Mm-hmm.
And so
well, I hope it gets approved. It's just, I don't think you realize how different living in this world compared to the world you live in is. I don't know that I would call this the real world. I don't know what I would call it, but there is such a difference in reality on what the program you're on versus just me living life. Like, we don't have anything in common. You are writing permission to get approval to go see your grandbaby be born. I mean, that's not realistic to me where I'm at from my point of view. That's all. Right. You shouldn't need approval. You should say, hey, he's being born on this day and I'm going to be gone. But that's from my point of view. And honestly, I say this with love, but I really don't care. I mean, that's your life. It's been your life for decades. I've accepted that, but it's not mine. I don't believe that it works, and I don't think that it's right. And I think people are abused because I've had that experience myself, and it gets swept under the rug.
I'm just realizing some people in the chat don't know who we're listening to. Reese is the one you're hearing speaking right now. Her mother-in-law or former mother-in-law, who she's had remained very close with until she had to disconnect a few months ago, is Brenda Argis, and is the other person speaking. And at the time of this phone call, Brenda, as a Scientology staff member from Kansas City, is in Clearwater, Florida, at Flag, training on David Miscavige's super secret new executive training program. This is a conversation that's happening. Brenda's not even in Kansas City. She's in Florida. And she does these regular phone calls with Reese because Brenda's terribly, terribly concerned about Reese's son, Huxley, who is Brenda's grandson.
Mhm.
Is that all legit?
Yeah,
Cool.
it is.
And I think there's a lot of mind control going on, being told what to think. I know that because I was told what to think from a very young age, being put in chairs and my dad screaming, start, flunk, yelling at us. Like it's total control, and I just don't agree with it. So I just want you to know that, like, I love you. I love Doug. You guys have done nothing but really wonderful things. Like you were my in-laws 2 marriages ago, and you're still here. But I do fear that this is going to cause disconnection. And we all know that disconnection is used in Scientology for, people who are being suppressive.
Can I ask you something? So what do you mean by you're afraid that this is going to cause disconnection?
What I just told you.
I love she didn't deny it, though.
Let's wait till it's over, but I want to talk about your thoughts when it's over.
Okay.
I know the stakes.
Like
I know
you're
that
gonna you're gonna disconnect from me.
Like I'm probably going to be declared with what I just said. Aren't these high crimes, the things I'm saying? I mean, I'd have to get out my ethics book, but like none of this is okay.
Well, I mean, you have things that have happened that, well, I don't want to evaluate for you and tell you what you're thinking or anything like that.
Well, you can evaluate all you want. It doesn't bother me.
Well, it's against my religion.
I know it's against policy, but I'm just saying it doesn't bother me if you want to just freely say what you want to say.
You were cracking me the F up in this phone call.
I mean, I'm trying to get her to think outside of Scientology. Like, do you notice her just stopping herself on everything?
Yeah.
And also just, just aren't these high crimes? And she doesn't really, there's going to be some repercussions probably for that.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, it gets really loud here somewhere. Bo, my dog, starts going crazy.
I edited out the barking dogs, by the way.
Okay, because Aaron can't. I was
Jesus.
just gonna say Aaron can't handle it. He
Like
can't.
25 seconds of freaking barking dogs.
Sweet Jesus!
You could have given me a heads up. I had to find that.
You need to go to Target too, where there's no animals. Can't do it.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't have to disconnect.
Well, if I were to be declared, you do.
Yeah, but I don't see how you're going to be declared.
Whoops.
I don't know how that process works. I'm just saying, if it gets bad enough, Brenda, and I get declared, that's on her end. That means.
That's on her end?
She's outside. Yeah. You can tell
okay.
Jeff and I were listening to this, and there's a part where she like goes, hold on. And it sounds like she's like checking to make sure no one's around her. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Guys, what do you think of that? I mean, in my opinion, I don't have to disconnect. Brenda, where are you? Blink twice if you're okay. We never heard from her again. So her opinion was wrong, and her crystal ball was also wrong. But let's go on.
Yeah.
Means that you and Doug would have to disconnect from me and Huxley and Michael and Jeff and anybody you're connected to there.
Do you want to back that up a little bit? That seems important to me. Like maybe start over.
Okay.
10 seconds or something.
Okay.
Well, I don't see disconnection in our future.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Have to disconnect from me. that we both know what that means, that you and Doug would have to disconnect from me and Huxley and Michael and Jeff and anybody you're connected to there.
Hmm. Well, I don't see disconnection in our future.
I don't know enough to remember how that works. I just know that having these kind of conversations are not welcome. And I know it's a major ethics situation. I don't know where disconnect or so being declared comes. I don't know like the steps you take to getting declared. Again, I'd have to get out my ethics book, but I feel strongly that I probably will be declared based on how I feel.
I just love how you're basically constantly referring to the fact of I can check my ethics book to verify the truth of all these things. Like you're an expert at what you're doing here.
I was an ethics officer.
You were? I totally forgot that. Is that
I was an
when
HCO. I was the
is
COPE
that
officer.
when Dan flung the fax machine at you?
He did. Yeah, it's when I took a fax machine to the head.
If it gets out, if they were to know that I felt this way, I think that, yeah, Maggie would probably say, declare her. I mean, I can recall Wendy Keene being like, declare, give her a declare. She's an SP.
On you?
No, just on people who had the same kinds of thoughts as me.
Oh, I gotcha.
Wendy said
Hey, I
that
have a
many
question.
times, and Wendy was an ethics trained individual. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. So, have you ever talked to Kathy about any of this?
No, and I wouldn't.
Kathy, Dan O'Connor's sister?
Yeah, because they're best
What-
friends, and Kathy and I are very close.
Ah.
I don't feel close enough to Kathy to talk about any of this with her. I like talking to
Oh,
Kathy
really?
about diets, exercise, and Fred. But yeah, no, I don't feel close enough with Kathy to have this conversation.
I gotcha. Okay.
So, like I say, I still have tons of people that I love in Scientology. I have to say, I feel like it's a total sham. I just, now that I haven't been in it in a while and I look back at like things that I was told or did, or, being in session with Scott Otto and like just the weird shit that goes on. It's like, this doesn't feel right. I can't tell you how many times I was like, it doesn't seem right. That's not right.
Mhm.
And I can't hear
Mhm.
anymore that like, well, we're changing and we're new and it's different now. I mean, it shouldn't have ever happened. And my dad is still around. And Dave Sutter is still around after all the horrible shit that he said to me at the grand opening of the fucking Ideal Org.
Mhm.
Even Jeff was like, what the hell? Who was that? So
Yeah.
who are these people? It's just crazy to me that this is allowed. I don't know.
Mhm.
And rather than trying to solve
Well,
it, I just don't be a part of it anymore.
Well, as far as you telling me these things, you're communicating them to me. I mean, I'd have to look at, hold on one sec.
That's where she's like, looking around.
Yeah, because if you notice, she's like, as far as you
I'd
telling,
have to look at the,
Go ahead.
it just seems like I feel like this is where she's going to get in trouble again. She's already in trouble, but probably just add to her billions of years of having to do amends here. She's kind of alluding to it here. I mean, we should just listen to it, but she says like, you're just, as far as you're just telling me, like she knows damn well, and so do you and I, that she needed to report this.
That's why she asked you if you told Kathy.
Do you think
'Cause
so?
Yes, because if you told Kathy, she knows Kathy would have written you up. But if you hadn't told Kathy, then Brenda knows that if you haven't told Kathy, then Brenda doesn't have to write you up because there's no one else is going to know about it.
Oh my God, I never even thought of it that way.
Because she just brought Kathy up out of nowhere with no context and no follow-up. There was no reason to ask that question.
That's true. She was covering her bases because she knows the people I would have talked to about this safely, and Kathy's the only one I would have.
Yeah.
So she's guessing that. But then, if do you notice that? Maybe I'm wrong. Jeff just said it a little bit ago when she goes, "Well, you're just telling me." She goes, "Hold on just a second." And I felt like, well, first of all, she was outside. You can hear the outdoors. She always talked to me when she was outside because she does share a room with 10 other women in a tiny bathroom with bunk beds. So she probably does want to have a more private conversation. But it almost seemed to me when Jeff said that, he goes, she's checking around. That's why she was like, hold on. Because she was like, you're just telling me these things. Imagine if someone even just heard that. That's a red flag. If your roommate's nearby going, just hearing that side of the call, well, you're just telling me. Like that seems concerning. Okay.
Totally.
Ethics book as well, but I think you have to do. I mean, I'd have to look at the ethics book as well, but I think you have to do something way more serious to get declared, you know? So, like you haven't like gone to the press or, you know, made a TV show about it or anything like that. You're telling me,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But if you had, you definitely get declared.
Right. But I just think I think she's going to get in trouble. Let's talk about it when it's over. But I think she's going to get in trouble for even what she just said. Basically, I feel like that's her way of saying, you're just telling me, and I'm certainly not going to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll always love you, and I just want to help you. And I want to help you and Huxley and Jeff. And, you know, the best thing I can do right now, I want you to tell me if you think that there's anything you want me and Doug to do. And,
right. No, I know.
I do know that you know Huxley very well. And, you're running into trouble with him right now. I do know that you talked about taking him to a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he has something medically.
Yes, definitely. Still going to do that.
Do you have an appointment?
No. And I don't think I need one. He just had a physical. I was told at the time of the physical, all I would have to do is like make an appointment for blood work because he doesn't really need a physical again. We just need to get to like a baseline. So okay. I'm going to ask them again if that's what I need to do. And then we'll get some blood work done. And honestly, I mean, even Jeff was like, what is that going to tell us? Like what? I mean, he's probably fine blood wise. And I said, well, you're probably right, but I still want to rule that out just as a baseline. Just even if it says everything's normal and in range, I still want to just say, okay, well, we did that,
Well, and I'm also thinking, like a nutritional aspect of things.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, for instance, B1, he might like, he's not an alcoholic, but like, for instance, alcoholics, I was reading about like drug addiction and alcoholics and stuff. And, it causes them to burn up B1 that can like add to craziness.
So he's not an alcoholic, but let me tell you what happens with alcoholics. What is she talking about?
I also just hate that Scientologists do this. In my experience, it's always like B1 or salt and potassium. It's like, she's about to say it. In a second, she goes, maybe he just needs a bunch of B1. Those are her words. He just needs a bunch of B1. If that was our problem on this planet with mental issues, don't you think we would have already tried that? A bunch of B1. Also, it's weird that she's like, he's not an alcoholic, but alcoholics and drug addicts burn up B1. What does that have to do with Huxley?
My God.
So, I mean, maybe you need to give him a bunch of B1. See what that does.
I mean, if that helps solve our problem, I don't know that that's going to be it. I mean, that would be magical. But if you recall, that was what Kathy was saying we needed to do with Michael. And we bought that really expensive B1 in the bottle that was like drinkable. And I mean, none of that shit helped. But yeah, I don't have like a feeling about it. I don't have a feeling of what he needs. like what is lacking in his body or his mind. I don't know that it's a body issue.
Well, if you ever feel like you want him to, live with us to help give you a break, or,
Yeah.
I'm offering.
By the way, she's offering. She's not even in Kansas.
She's not there. And I say that in a minute. I'm like, yeah, Doug could take him for a week, take him off my hands for a week. But I mean, what is this us shit?
Yeah.
I
She's basically low
think-
key being like, you're the reason there's something wrong with
Yes.
Huxley's having problems.
Yeah, I definitely,
Because you don't
am
apply
seeing that now.
Scientology tech, and we would apply Scientology tech.
And
And
and I know he's not an alcoholic, but maybe taking him to AA. What is wrong with her?
He just needs to work the steps.
He needs a life coach. Okay.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure that Doug would do that, take him to school, and if I needed like a week away from Huxley, sure, I have a feeling he would probably do it. But I also don't think that's going to solve any problems.
So when I talk to you about like tutoring or helping him find words that he doesn't understand, you don't think that would be right? To have him
I mean, that's not
clear up something he doesn't
Scientology.
understand.
Yeah, I don't have a problem
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
That wasn't invented by L. Ron Hubbard looking up words.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's in Laura Ingalls Wilder,
Yeah, that's
So-
nothing new. That's nothing new there.
Hair in your
I
face.
don't have an issue.
I grew up in a cult. Who's Laura Ingalls Wilder?
I don't know. I grew up in 84. I think it was before our time. Isn't it?
Was that Little House on the Prairie?
I was just saying, I think it's like the girls with the prairie dresses.
Laura Ingalls. I know it's a famous name. Oh, she's a historical figure. Hold on. She was an American writer. Oh, the Little House on the Prairie series of children's books.
Good
Were they
for
doing
you.
word clearing sessions in Little House on the Prairie? Did I miss that episode?
I didn't understand that either. But again, I don't feel sorry for you that you grew up in a cult. I came from an ice cube. I know way less than you do.
They didn't have dictionaries back
Came
on the
from
prairie.
ice.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know what she means by that. Moving on.
I think Doug did do some of that. He like went over stuff with football, and they looked on YouTube for mass and things
Right.
like that. Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that. I have a problem with actually applying any kind of doing TRs or any of that kind of doing a session.
Okay. And we haven't done any of that. So the last time he had a session was, way back when Sam and Fiona first moved back, and Sam gave him like a 5-minute self-analysis session, and then found out that you guys didn't want him to do that, so he didn't do it again.
Yeah.
Without us knowing.
Wow. And who's Sam?
Their son, Michael's brother.
So
They had him for a weekend, and I got him back
his
Sunday night.
uncle.
Yep.
So Huxley's
And-
uncle.
Sam was the course soup at Flag. He was in the Sea Org, and he came back like on a leave of absence for a week or something. And I got him back on a Sunday night, and Huxley was like, "I went in session all weekend," and I was like, "What?" And okay, Jeff, thank you for that. And I flipped out, and so did Michael. And we found out that Sam ran self-analysis on him like Saturday and Sunday. And
Hey, we
I
got
was
a question.
really pissed.
A question here from Sea Org Tech Discussions. Question to Reese. I've known a Doug Carr, and I knew the same Doug Carr, by the way. In 1996 at the FSO, was he the same person married to Brenda?
No, it's Doug Argis.
But I mean, so do you know a Doug Carr?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah,
But I
didn't
know
think Doug was
Liz
from-
Carr, Liz and Alex Carr were on staff here. Liz Carr was the ED who was on the program a year or two ago and dropped dead. I
But
don't
the
know if they're
same question would
related.
come up. But you would know if it was if Doug Carr was related, you would know because he was training at Flag forever and then eventually went back to his org. So if
Okay,
there was a
okay.
Doug Carr at the Kansas City org, you would know him.
No,
right?
yeah, I would know that. Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
heard of
okay.
Doug Carr.
Okay.
I have a question. So, all right. So what if, like, what kind Huxley go to bed? Like 11:30?
He goes to bed at 9.
I mean 11:30. I didn't mean that. 9. I'm just trying to think, like, what if, like, Doug came over and like helped to tutor him? Would that be something that you would?
Yeah, I wouldn't have a
Want
problem
help
with that
with,
if they
or-
did that. If they did that here, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Now, I'm not sure when he goes on course, but he could probably.
I mean, he
would
couldn't
work out the
tonight.
course.
They have Boy Scouts.
Okay. What about tomorrow night?
I can ask Jeff. I don't think sometimes on Tuesday nights they have a special scout meeting, and I have no idea. Jeff's not here, but I could ask
Okay.
Jeff that. I mean,
Never thought of
I
that.
don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't think Jeff would have a problem with it. Jeff does feel like he and Doug go do like fun things. You know, Doug was supposed to bring Huxley back, I guess. I was at work. What was that, like last Tuesday or Thursday? And Doug was like, I'll bring him back after lunch. And he was in trouble. And Jeff didn't want him to go in the first place. And I kind of made it happen. And Jeff texted me at like 3:30 when I was at work, and he was like, kind of like I figured. He was like, Doug didn't bring him back after lunch like I asked him to. He was like, they're at a park somewhere right now. And I get that. Like, Huxley shouldn't be allowed to spend the day like that with Doug. And I think Doug brought him back around 4, and Jeff was mad about it. And I think he told Doug, like, this isn't what we agreed on. This isn't what you said.
And how did that go?
I don't know. I never followed up with it. Doug or Jeff just texted that to me, and he said, I'm really unhappy with Doug. And I let him know that this isn't what you told me you were going to do. And I don't know what kind of conversation they had because I was at work. But I agree with Jeff on that kind of stuff. It's like he's kind of seen, and Doug's been late so many times, and he's, you know, it's like, especially how bad Huxley is at this point. Yeah, I'm not cool with him going to do stuff with Doug either. Even if it is like going out and playing football, he's not allowed to do that shit right now. I don't care how much space helps in a change of environment. Like, he is so disrespectful and so bad that like going with Pup is fun time, and he knows that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if I had, I think what I'll do is when we're done, I'll just call Doug and see if it would be possible for him to come and help, and then maybe have you guys work out a time that he could come.
Yeah, that would be fine as long as that's what they did, you know, sat down and did like schoolwork.
Well, I was thinking, can you just do it there at your house?
Right. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. And would it be okay if he did it like in the evening, or is that too late?
I think that's fine. I mean, I don't really want Doug to be like, we'll go get something to eat. And then, you know, like, it's
No,
not.
I'll tell him, no. I'll tell him this is going to be like all business.
Yeah, I mean,
like getting down to the homework and the clearing words or whatever they're going to, he's going to do with them.
okay. Yeah, I want to go over this with Jeff because Jeff gets really upset with me if I make some decision and he wasn't a part of it. But I don't think he'll have a problem with it. I mean, Doug has been doing stuff like this with him. I know they've gone over some things. He went over how he's, worked out, not going to have the tardies anymore. And so far, none of this has helped. But, I don't have.
Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought there was, Doug said that he texted Huxley and asked about the tardies after they worked out that plan. And he said he went all day without being tardy. And then I guess this is my understanding is they had worked out that he was tardy like between his 7th and 8th periods or something like that. And he was having trouble getting to his locker and getting his computer or something. Mm-hmm. And then he said that he worked out a plan of how that he could take his computer earlier in the day or something and not be late. Doug just asked him what could he do to work it out. And that's what they came up with. And then he checked with him and said, hey, how did it go today? And Huxley said, no tardies now.
He lied. Yeah, he was lying because I talked to the assistant principal and he said, I talked to him too. And he told me like this whole plan he had worked out. And he said now he's in school suspension because he's got 13 tardies. And before when he was with Doug, he had 7 or 8. And now he has 13. So
I have a question. Should Doug go to the school and just like watch what's happening there?
no, definitely not. Doug is not somebody that the school would probably allow to do that. But I already talked to the assistant principal about that, and he said we're not allowed to do that. That's not something that's proper. But yeah, no,
So
that's not something I would have Doug do.
All right, and that is the end of it. Quick question. How is she allowed to have these phone calls with you while she's at Flag? Are you calling her or is she calling you or what?
Oh no, she was calling me because she had to schedule it. So she would say something like, what's today? What is today? Thursday?
Mhm.
She'd be like, can I call you Saturday morning? Like she would schedule it way in advance. And then she would text me Saturday morning and say, I just got off the bus, getting ready, just got our exercise or whatever. And then she'd be like, can I call you in 10 minutes? So it was very precise. She would schedule
It sounds to me like these phone calls are part of some ongoing ethics program she's working on or some handling in relation to you, which is
Really?
ironic. It totally for an outer org trainee at Flag to spend an hour. I mean, this was only 20 minutes of a longer phone call talking to you about the academic performance of her grandson in Kansas City is the weirdest, most external influency, other fish to fry sort of bullshit I could possibly imagine from the perspective of a Flag ethics officer or her continental in charge on the training program. Like her getting involved in something like this doesn't make any sense at all unless they're asking her to do it because it's something that's come up as a problem for her.
I mean, I guess you would probably know more than me, but the thing is she was there for 2 years. We talked on the phone all the time. I mean,
I know, but and I know. I'm just saying it's this particular phone call, especially if she's scheduling it in advance, wasting this much time talking about anything that's not related to her immediate life on the training program is odd. I mean, we've listened to many of these phone calls. This one in particular to me just sounds like that maybe she's being asked to do it. I could be wrong,
okay.
I don't remember. I don't remember where this segment fits into the other segments that we've listened to already. But this is a weird one.
I saw somebody say earlier, like, do you notice how much she pushes Doug on Huxley? Like, let's utilize Doug. Like, can we get Doug to do this? And Doug can come take him. And can Doug come up to the school and sit and watch like a creep in the back? No. Like, they're so out of reality. That's what I said in the beginning of the call. I said something like, it's so different out in the real world compared to where you live. Like, it's just bizarre to me the way they even think. It's because she's in such a bubble. Like, there's just no access to the real world.
Yeah, totally. Let me see. There was one comment here kind of touching on that. Blake Reed, I hate that Brendan never backs off. Reese is obviously trying to break it to her as real as possible. And Brenda's just not having it, even though Reese was a literal mouthpiece for ethics policy. It's maddening. Yeah. I mean, Blake, that's how all these phone calls go when you get a call from someone from a Scientology organization, because giving up or ending it in a way that's not positive to Scientology is just not even an option. It's just taking no for an answer is not an option.
No, and that's common in all aspects of Scientology. I mean, I can remember so many. That's why I went to the events every weekend, that they would have the local events, because they hound you so much. Like, you can't say no. And if you say no, they say, why? What do you have going on? and I can
Right.
say I have a wedding or something, and they can go, well, can you work around that and come after? Or, I mean, there just is no, it's hard sell, I guess is how you would put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DP Never in Scientology claims to help people communicate better, but here is hard evidence of exactly the opposite. The most important part of communication is listening. Reese's patience is amazing.
Thank you.
Rural SD Lawyer wanted us to know they did have dictionaries on the prairie, Aaron. How could they have had dictionaries? Did they even have books? I guess they had. Did they have books back then? When was the prairie? Let me see. What year? In what year did Little House on the Prairie take place? Okay, it took place in between 1870 and 1894. Now let me look up, when was the printing press invented? Now I realize you can have books before the printing press, but okay, the printing press was invented in 1440. Okay, guys, you see, I grew up in a cult, so I wouldn't know that. Okay.
I think it
Now-
shocks people that we don't know this stuff, but I really don't know that.
Okay. So let me Google. Did dictionaries exist in, did it say 1870? Okay. Did dictionaries exist in 1870s America? Of course, it couldn't just give me a straight answer. I couldn't just get a straight answer. It probably didn't like the fact that I said America. So
I saw
let
somebody
me
say 1828.
And just because dictionaries existed doesn't mean they actually had them in the prairies. You know what I'm saying? They're working the fields. You think they're looking up definitions of words?
I only know oceans.
Anyway, I know rural SD Lawyer probably knows what they're talking about. So I'll concede the point. Thank you. Sorry about that. Apologies, guys. Apologies for my misfactual statement. Let me see. Molly asks, Aaron or Reese, do either of you know what happened to Brenda as a result of these calls being played? We believe she was kicked off of
staff. Yeah.
We believe she was sent out. She was sent home from Flag. We believed she was kicked off of staff, but we weren't 100% sure. Then we believe she was sent back to Flag, but we presumed not as an out-of-work trainee, but for ethics handling. And then we recently found out that her husband, Doug, has also been sent to Flag, which means they're in trouble.
Thank God, too. Get the hell out of my town. Like, I don't want them here. It makes me uncomfortable with them here. Aaron, you did not know this. You didn't know.
What?
I went to work yesterday. Remember? I told you that.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole time I was at work, this is why I bring this up. The whole time not the whole time. No, like an hour and 20 minutes. This guy was sitting here watching me the whole time.
Jeff sent me that photo. It was
Oh, he
so
did?
obvious in the photos that he's watching, that he was looking at you.
Oh yeah, he was like the whole time looking. Here he is hiding behind a bush. Like you can see his eyes. He was like watching me just directly. It was so creepy.
Goodness.
So he got into a car as soon as I started taking his picture. He got up really fast and he jumped into this car.
Oh, send me that photo. I can have somebody run it.
We did. I'll send it to you anyway. But Jeff has
Okay.
a couple of, one of them's a retired sheriff and then the other one is still a detective. And the retired sheriff has a surveillance company and he ran it. And the guy that I took the picture of was the passenger of the car, not the driver.
Oh, interesting.
There were two of them. So we only could run the passenger's information. We don't know who that guy is because he wasn't the driver. And it came back as a guy. He's not in the PI registry. So he's not a legal PI if he is a PI, but he lives right by Doug and Brenda.
Wow.
Which is really far away. It's not close to where I work at all. And so I was talking to this sheriff about it yesterday, and he said, my red flags and bells are going off just being a retired detective. He said, we see this kind of stuff. And he said, we deal with the Jehovah's Witnesses. He said, my company does surveillance on, because they get surveilled, I guess, kind of like the Church of Scientology does. Anyway, he said, if you want to, he said, we can send out a couple of guys to surveil the people who are surveilling you. And I was like, yeah, I'm not important enough for that. We don't need to do that. But he thinks somehow he was like, I just don't understand why this guy is so close to the neighborhood of Doug and Brenda. Like, I don't know if they're associated. I don't tend to think so, but isn't that creepy? It made me
Totally.
think of that because of the connection with Doug and Brenda.
Yeah.
But don't you think I still think I feel kind of bad that I took that guy's picture because I'm like, what if it was nothing? But he did sit there for over an hour staring at me.
Yeah. Who sits on a bench for over an hour?
Old guy.
Okay.
I want to talk back about this real quick though. What do you think is going to be the consequence of this with Brenda? Because do you think she reported it?
No, I think we know that she didn't report it.
And she was alluding to the fact that she wasn't going to, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
telling me.
They could never take someone who was on a flag training program, right? On David Miscavige's little Captain Davy of the fake Space Navy, who was on his training program, was actively talking to you week after week after week. Someone she knew was antagonistic to Scientology, was sharing with you all sorts of secret confidential information about the shit they were doing on the training program. They couldn't possibly let her continue to be a staff member after. I mean, what a breach. And promising not to write you up, knowing after asking you if you'd already told Kathy. She's toast. She's toast. And she should thank you for getting her shot from guns, because the last thing she needs is to spend the remaining years of her life as a slave for Scientology. I mean, I hope we're right that she did get kicked off of staff. I mean, if she did, she should be thanking you.
I know, but the sad thing is, she will just take it and take it. She's been on staff for 40 years. They will punish her, I'm sure, greatly. And right now she's probably scrubbing toilets.
She's probably scrubbing Tom Cruise's toilet with a toothbrush.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I just wondered, like, the consequences of even releasing this one, though. It just gets worse for her, I'm sure. Now, why
This
would
one's
Doug be
particularly
there?
good.
Would he be in trouble just by association? He really didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, my guess would be that they see him as a wild card, a loose end. They don't want him going rogue and getting back in touch with you guys secretly while she's at Flag under lock and key. It's the same thing that they did. I mean, your situation is different, but in the lawsuit by the Sea Org members who are in Australia, the lawsuit's being litigated in Tampa, but Gawain Baxter, Laura Baxter, and Valeska Paris. When this lawsuit was filed, they flew all these people's family members in from all over the world. Public, staff, didn't matter. Just flew them all into Flag for no particular reason other than to being able to keep tabs on them.
To keep them under control.
Yeah, they weren't even in trouble. They had nothing to do with the lawsuit. These people weren't disaffected. They're true believers. And Miscavige said, get them to Clearwater. We need to be able to keep an eye on them.
That's really creepy. Okay. So he may not be in trouble. You don't think he's on an amends project, do you?
He may not be in trouble. He's not the one who was leaking you confidential information every week on a phone call from Flag. He didn't do anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Now he might wonder whether he had the same information as Brenda did, that you were so disaffected and antagonistic to Scientology and didn't report it. But his offense is minor compared to Brenda's. So they won't totally ignore him. But I mean, he really has done almost nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I see from Blake Reed here. Could Doug and Brenda be considered PTS in time due to these leaks? If so, what would that mean for them exactly? I mean, anyone in Scientology can be PTS. That's not even a big deal. They're only PTS if they're connected to a suppressive person. So now that they've disconnected from Reese, they wouldn't be considered PTS, but they would still be considered in trouble, perhaps for not having reported the degree of Reese's disaffection earlier. But yeah, thank you for that one. Let me see. Blake Reed again. That is freaking scary. Clearwater, Florida is like its own little Twilight Zone. Yeah. Mr. Blue Sky is adamant that they did have books, especially dictionaries. Don't forget to buy Goldie a coffee. I do have a link to Goldie's Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of the video. You guys can check that out. It never occurred to me that anyone on the prairie was looking up definitions of words. How would they even come across new words if they're just talking to each other? No one's making up words. They're not watching TV and learning new words.
Wasn't
There's
there
no
like a
radio.
schoolhouse?
What? Yeah, perhaps. Okay. Yes, there was a school. There's school, but like, who's making? You like how I'm questioning the entire reality of existence in the 1600s?
Yeah, I'm
Like-
questioning your questioning now. What's going on here? There had to be a schoolhouse, right?
Well, there
Like
had
the
to be a
kind you see in
schoolhouse,
movies?
but aren't they just teaching out of their own heads? Like, okay, fine. So the grown-ups are going to be teaching the kids new words, but aren't you just going to tell them the definitions of the words? Are you going to be like, open up to your prairie dictionary? Is that really how it worked?
Well, hell yeah, I think it was more specific back then. Nobody's just telling people the definitions. Didn't they like have to stick
Weren't
with
all
their
the kids in the
curriculum?
same? Weren't all the kids in this one classroom? It's not like they had 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. They just had the grade. They had school.
What bothers me is that you can't recall it on your time track. Clearly, you went through the implant station, Aaron.
I have a completely occluded track. I was total no case gain. I'm just a black solid mass of a case.
You went through the implant station, and it shows.
What's your excuse that you can't remember?
What do you think? I was floating around with Nemo. Get it together. I was out in the ocean. I wasn't on the prairie. You were on land, and you should recall this. I just recall the megalodons with Jason Statham.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
Get it right.
Oh, Blake Reed, Aaron, I think the hat looks perfectly fine. You look tough. Well, thank you, Blake. That's what I was going for. Back in my younger, skinnier days, me and Jason Statham could have been twins, actually. Now that you mentioned Jason. Okay,
Really?
John
'Cause he has a cool
Sostovsky.
accent.
Yes. I sponsored their big ass cowboy hats. Yeah, one of
You
these
did,
days we'll have to bust out the big cowboy hats again.
Yeah, we kind of need to do that. I was also thinking about another time. Oh my God, my sister's in the chat. Look at that.
Oh.
I'm gonna star it. Oh, it's going too fast. She never jumps in. I want to say hi to her. Brianna, everybody say hi. I just started it so you can pull it up. Brenda has been put on some sort of, I don't know, because she's not Sea Org. Isn't the RPF only for Sea Org?
Yeah, I mean the RPF is, I mean the RPF specifically is for the Sea Org and really doesn't exist anymore. But there's always going to be some version of a reconditioning, a thought reconditioning program. So she might be just put on the decks, put on mast work, put in lower conditions. The RPF is obviously a particular extreme program. So the operative phrase here would be some form of the RPF. But
why does this have to be at Flag though? Like, why wouldn't she be doing scrubbing toilets in Kansas City? What difference does it make?
Oh yeah, it's just Miscavige has this thing where he just like thinks only people at Flag can ever do anything the right way, and everyone else is just an out ethics, out tech, DB crim piece of shit. And so it's just they just bring the highest priority flaps to Flag usually. If they're in LA, then sometimes Julian Schwartz will take those on. It's either going to be AOLA or Flag. It's never let the local org keep taking care of the shit show that occurred under their nose.
Okay.
Somebody
also said they had newspapers back then. Do you think that was true?
Newspapers might have existed, but not on the prairie. I'm saying this like I know. I'm just saying like they might have been in the big cities, but the prairie folk weren't going down getting the newspaper, were they?
What big cities? There were no big cities back then.
There's always been, relative to the prairies, big cities. Like, the founding of the, in the founding of the country, what were the founding cities? Was it, in whether it was Virginia or Pennsylvania or Delaware or whatever, there was always something that would be considered the city folk. At least that's what I recall from my whole track. How about you? How was that glacier?
I was just thinking of that show with 1923 or 1875 or whatever it was with Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford. There was no big cities. I only know TV. I did not see land.
Aaron is killing me with his assumption that people were illiterate 150 years ago.
True.
I didn't say they were illiterate. I didn't say if they had a dictionary, they wouldn't be able to read it. I just didn't think they'd have freaking dictionaries. That's
Did you
all.
though? Yes, you did.
No, they were reading they were reading poems and they were reading haikus from
Poems?
Walt Whitman.
Like Shakespeare?
Whatever. I don't know. It just never occurred to me. I'm just thinking of them walking around the prairies with their Webster's Young Readers dictionaries under their arms.
Honestly, I can't recall back that far.
Oh,
I don't know, but
it's
I
funny.
think we're coming off as dumb because everybody else is like laughing at us like we should know this.
I guess in my mind, I assume they can read, but they just didn't have books.
Aaron,
But then how
that's
could they
not what
read?
happened.
Then how could they read if they didn't have books?
Aaron,
Oh
they
my
they
God.
had school then.
I know they had school. I just thought they did it all verbally, standing up.
What? Okay, guys. Okay. I think he's in worse shape than I am. I had no idea.
Oh my God.
Wait, did you just say standing?
Yeah, standing up in front of the course room with a chalkboard that use cow manure to write the words and shit and
Cow
teach the
manure?
timetables. I don't know. I
didn't-
never thought about it much.
They didn't have chairs back then? There's a lot
No, the
going on
kids
that we
had
need to
chairs. The
unpack.
teacher was standing. The kids had chairs. They're not animals. Come on now.
So the teacher's standing, writing with cow poop. You've
Just
got
finger
a lot of
painting with
troubles.
horse shit up there.
You need
No,
to see somebody. You should
I
see
assumed
somebody.
they had some kind of chalk based on a slate. I don't know. I wasn't there. We don't know.
We need
You
to get
don't
Aaron an
know.
appointment. We need to line
No
him
one
up with
can
somebody.
know.
Uh,
I never thought about it. I don't know. Oh shit, this is too funny. Is Aaron? I saw that. No, not even. That's not. I don't even have that excuse.
okay.
Oh,
A lot going on.
All right. Dave wanted me to know that if he saw me take my hat off, he would assume it was for sun protection and not that I was hiding my bald head. I live in Holiday and we live on the sun. Yes, it's true.
Not
Did
to
we get
mention
this
there's
question?
bald people everywhere. Go on.
Yes, we're not as ashamed of ourselves these days. Thanks to Bruce
Everywhere.
Willis. Thank you. And thank you,
Yes.
Jason Statham. Thank you.
And Kenny Chesney.
Thank you, The Rock. Thank you, Rock. You've done a great service to the bald folk.
Yep.
Molly, you know what? I don't think we ever answered this. What period was this phone call done?
Yeah. I started that for her. This was coming up on close to a year ago, Molly, but not quite. It was probably November or December.
Okay. All right, cool. Jess Zanger asks, can I ask a question? Oh, Jess is quoting.
Oh my God,
Brenda.
because she did it a lot. She's so awkward. Can I ask you a question?
Isn't there a level on the tone scale called covert hostility? Is it just me, or does that perfectly express the way all of Brenda and Kathy's phone calls sound? Yeah. They're certainly not being overt. I mean, they're just lying. They're sort of, it's interesting, right? So they're being covert, but they would probably argue that they're not being covertly hostile. They're just being covert. It's funny though, but there's no differentiation on the tone scale really between just being covert and being covertly hostile. They would probably say, we might be being covert, but we're in strong interest because we are interested in helping you.
Yeah, they would say that, but I would say Kathy's call in particular was 1-1 on the tone scale. She was pretty.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I just love this one. I didn't assume that people were illiterate. I just assumed that the people on the prairie were illiterate and that the city folk were the ones who knew how to read.
The city folk.
Why
with you.
Why is that a crazy assumption?
What?
The prairie folk were probably less educated, and the city folk were reading the Washington Post at that time.
And wiping their asses with it. There was no indoor plumbing. There was none of this. Everybody was probably more of a prairie person.
I got a quiz item for you. Do you know in New York how the brownstones, none of them have street level entry? You always walk up the stairs to walk into the front door.
I know that from Sex and the City, yes.
Do you know why that is? Because the streets were full of horse shit. That's a fact. You can look it up.
Well, I don't think I need to look that up. That sounds accurate.
Oh,
And
it's
now the
accurate.
streets are filled with human shit, from what I hear.
That's true. That is a
Yeah.
good point. So those
Yeah.
steps are still serving a good purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, Joni, Reese, you forgot I am the asteroid because I took them out. Love the hats. I needed to see you both. It's Shark Week.
Poor Joni.
So was Joni she was the Thetan on the asteroid that took out the dinosaurs? Is that what she's saying?
And then Xenu pulled the cover off, according to Doug, and it froze the whole planet.
I see. Blake Reed, a normal education was taught during that time period. It was just conducted in schoolhouses and reinforced from different perspectives back at home. So same core education system. It just looked different. I just assumed they did it all with pictures and shadow puppets.
What's wrong with you?
Books. The prairie folk, I assumed, did not need to know how to read.
I think that there's some stuff to unpack here with you, and I think we need to do a live on it sometime. That I'm concerned. I have concerns.
I mean, look, I'm open to having my mind changed. In fact, I think my mind's already been changed. It's just fun to talk about this. Rural SD lawyer also thinks it's funny that I thought everyone 150 years ago was illiterate.
I think people were smart then. There was a lot of learning going on.
It's not just the rural folk that I thought this about. Let me give you another analogy. As I sit here right now, not having studied a lick of history, let's take the shipbuilders in Europe who built all the ships that everyone sailed to America on. Are you telling me they were reading books on how to build the ships, or they just learned by doing? Did you telling me these people were reading books?
They were probably the people writing the books. They were the architects that were figuring out how to do it, and then they wrote how to do it. That's how the Titanic was built.
I just assumed that people became expert tradesmen, craftsmen by learning, and the knowledge was passed down by generations through the apprenticeship program. They were sitting down and reading books about this shit.
Well, I think they were probably the first ones to write the books, just like the people who built the pyramids. They had to be done. They wrote a book on how to build them.
Do you think they read books on how to build the pyramids?
No, I think they probably just did it and then wrote a book on how to do it, and now we know how to do it.
How did they train all the people on how to build the pyramid if there was no book? If they could train an army of slaves on how to build the pyramids and they didn't need books, did they really need books on the prairies? Gotcha.
This is not my area of expertise. I came from the ocean, and I'm disappointed that you can't pull this up out of your time track. I don't know, but I assume people were educated. I think people were the children were so much better back then. They sat and listened. They didn't get in trouble or tardies like Huxley did earlier.
Here's what I'm struggling with. Here's what I'm struggling with. If their entire existence was just to grow the wheat, what exactly did they need to study?
They all went to school. Haven't you seen that Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line? He grew up picking cotton, but he went to school.
I did see that movie. I don't remember the school part. Did they have books?
Oh my God. You're pissing everybody off. You better get your life together and pick the right path right now. You need to make better choices.
I remember when I was little, me and my brother would always tease our mom every now and be like, did they have TV when you were a kid? But it never occurred to me to pull out the books, be like, wait. Did they have books back then?
That's all they had. They didn't have TV. They had books. Johnny Cash said that his mom always read the hymns to him or something.
I know. Johnny Cash is Mason. All right, let's keep going. Ann Ortiz, stagecoaches may have transported newspapers from town to town. What a waste of labor. Who would want to read the newspaper if you're working in the fields?
Oh, my sweet stars. Aaron, I thought I had problems. I'm pretty sure they liked doing it. They liked listening to the radio and reading the newspaper. I've seen that in movies.
I know. I know they had radio, but not back on the prairie days. Did they have a radio in the 1870s on the prairies? Google when was radio invented. When was radio? This is why you should send your kids to higher education, folks.
Barb just said I've never felt smarter than I do right now.
The radio was not invented until 1896. Didn't have no damn radio on the prairie, okay? Just like I said. I'm right about one thing tonight.
I feel like we're going to lose subscribers. They're going to be like, these people are a couple of dumb bums. What a couple of duds.
Hey, we grew up in a cult. We're the product of our upbringing.
It's bad.
Webster's Dictionary was first published in 1806. It probably took a long time for those dictionaries to make it over to the prairie, is all I'm saying. Blake Reed said, your perception isn't uncommon. You would have to see the historical recreations of schoolhouses to really see what was different, but we don't blame you for thinking it was some kind of Stone Age. Yes, I believe it was they were at least up to the lumber age, but I guess I don't know what I thought they were. I thought they were honestly teaching all the kids just verbally, is honestly what I thought. I swear to God, that's what I thought.
That's weird because I thought something totally different and we came from the same place. So I don't know why. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Joan, I guess you watched more Little House on the Prairie than I did. Joni Cummings, Aaron, they had the Bible and they may have had poems. See, that I would have said, yes, they probably all had the Bible, but that's, something that's being mass produced and sent around. And I just didn't think they'd be like, picking up the Weekly's Reader's Digest or something. I don't know. But yes, I did. I would have assumed and guessed that they all had the Bible, actually. Mandy, but it's funny, even the idea that they had the Bible, I would still go, but not a dictionary, right? Not a dictionary.
Yes, a dictionary.
No, I'm just saying, just because they had one, I didn't assume that the other would even exist. When Laura Ingalls Wilder was a teacher, she kept the dictionary on her desk along with the Bible and Shakespeare. Well, there you go. See, I didn't read any Laura Ingalls Wilder because I grew up in a cult, y'all.
I don't even know what it was.
Braille was even invented in 1824 in books. But you see, the Braille, of course, had to be in a book because that's the only place you can find it. You're not going to find Braille in the wild. It's got to be in a book. So that makes sense to me. Now, when I say something doesn't make sense to me, I'm not saying I don't believe it. I'm saying I did not already think it was true.
That's shocking that Braille was invented then.
I don't know how they invented Braille. I still can't wrap my mind around that. I do not understand how they teach anybody Braille. I could not imagine being able to decipher dots with my fingers. To me, that is like witchcraft. I do
it at 3 a.m. when I have to pee and the lights are out and it's dark. I do everything in Braille.
Yeah.
I just feel my way to the toilet.
Last night, while going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I found my bed very hard with my leg in Braille.
There you go. Yeah. So you do know a little Braille yourself. Okay.
Do they still teach Braille these days, or is that an antiquated thing?
I'm pretty sure people are still blind these days. So yeah.
I've never in my life seen or heard of where they teach kids Braille. I mean, I guess it's in schools for the blind, but do they still? I know they have schools for the deaf because I know that. I've still in the live chat. Do they still teach Braille to people?
I know they do because I got on an elevator and there was like the Braille things, the little dots.
Why would they not teach Braille?
Yeah,
because with audio, because honestly, with audiobooks, why bother teaching Braille? It's so much easier.
What if they're deaf too?
Okay, but that's for the deaf people. They don't teach deaf people.
What if they're
Braille.
blind and deaf?
They don't teach deaf people Braille. They teach deaf people how to read.
I think we're talking about things we shouldn't be because we know nothing about it.
They can teach deaf people to read and then blind people to listen to audiobooks. It'd be so hard to teach Braille. I mean, yeah, they didn't have audiobooks back when they were teaching people Braille.
I don't think we can speak on this. Clearly, we don't know anything and we keep trying to speak about it. And
are there any blind people in the chat? Are there any blind people in the chat? Can you please chime in if you're blind or deaf as well, please? I just want to hear from
have a blind family member
qualified to speak on this. Helen Keller is a myth. I do not believe that she was completely deaf and blind. I do not believe it. It doesn't even make sense. I don't believe it.
See, somebody just said what I said. There's still Braille buttons on the elevator.
I know, but that's grandfathered in. They're afraid to stop doing it because somebody will get angry. I'm telling you.
Some blind person's going to feel the flatness and get mad and be like, I can't figure out what floor I'm on.
That's right. Avid Little House fan here. POV character. What's POV?
Point of view. I just learned that.
That's not what it means here, though.
Well, I clearly know nothing this evening. You're confusing me all over the map.
POV character is told to write an essay. She uses to the one-room schoolhouse dictionary to find out what an essay is. Wow, they really did have dictionaries back then. That's amazing. What did you think the farmers did after work? Drank beer like everyone else. Drank beer and liquor. That's what they did back then. That's what they do today, right?
Well, I can't speak to any. I think we're pissing people off.
Hey, we're just being honest.
We didn't know
I,
that. I don't
how
know.
are we going to
things.
learn if we're not transparent about our ignorance?
Clearly,
It's
we
amazing
have a
I've made
lot
it this
more.
far in life.
I was just thinking that.
People are asking themselves, how did this guy make it this far in life?
How are we still going?
Okay. Tenacious Art Girl, been meaning to ask, if warrants are ever issued for Dave, do you think he has a bug out plan? I do not. Does Micro Dave have a bunker in Iceland and a plastic surgeon standing by? I think he is too, I don't think he thinks anything could ever happen to him. He doesn't need a bug out plan. He can just sneak off to the Freewinds ship in a rubber dinghy, and he's taken care of. It's easy for him to hide. Gary Mackey. It would appear that the newspaper of record was the Durand Weekly Times for the area that Laura Ingalls Wilder lived in at the time of Little House on the Prairie. I'm sorry, I'm confused. I thought Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote stories about the prairie. She lived in the time of the prairie. I missed that part of the Wikipedia article. She wrote books about the prairie while actually living on the prairie. I thought she was just writing about an earlier time.
Was she in the story or was she the author of the story?
Oh, see, I don't know. I could have cleared all this up if I actually knew who Laura Ingalls Wilder was and when she lived, but it's too much fun talking about it. I don't want to go look it up right now. Cat ACDC fan, Aaron, you're hilarious. Did they even have books? Yeah, not did books exist, but did they have access to books? If you're out working the fields in rural America in the 1600s, where you like, I know what I want to do tonight, curl up with a good book. No.
What do you do?
Shit-faced. You're getting shit-faced.
Not if you're a small child or the mother of that child.
Sure, the kids all drank back then.
Kind of like Huxley. Load him up with some B1.
Yeah, they were just making moonshine when they were either working or they were drunk. That's what I thought. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
I think your thoughts might be a little off, and we need to reel you back in.
That's totally possible. Hi, broken pencil.
Broken pencil.
Okay. I'm 10 minutes behind. I'm gradually realizing that reading the Little House books, short reads, by the way, would like blow Aaron's mind. I don't read books anymore. I'm purely audiobook. So if they got Little House on the Prairie on Audible, I've got like 16 unused Audible credits, and I will listen to them. And we could do book reports on Little House on the Prairie and compare those books to our whole track recall and see
if they come. Yeah.
Who's actually right. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Kat and Maggie, newspapers were usually one of the first businesses opened with new towns just after the saloons. Oh, you know what? That actually might make sense. Wait, because were there railroads back then? Were they still doing horse and buggies?
No, I think there were railroads in the 1600s.
Okay. Were there
railroads in the 1600s?
Railroads in the 1600s in the US? Damn it. Can I just get a straight answer? Did they have trains in the 1600s?
When was the first train?
I don't want to know about England. Of course they had shit in England. I want to know about the United States. When did they bring the Chinese over to start building our trains?
The what?
The Chinese built the trains.
They brought Chinese people here to build our first trains?
You didn't know that?
They did not. Did they build the pyramids?
No. Wooden railroads called wagonways were built in the United States starting in the 1720s. They didn't have trains yet. Okay. So really, they would open up newspapers in these little rural towns. That's crazy to me, but I'll take your word for it. Cat ACDC fan, this just gets better. Blake Reed, if you look at it from a cultural standpoint, all of the cultures and civilizations that started before the time frame of LHOP. What is LHOP? LHOP.
Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, Jesus, of course.
Well,
culturally diffused to us what would be formally taught as math and science in our schoolhouses. Wait, if you look at it from a cultural standpoint, all of the cultures and civilizations that started before the time of Little House on the Prairie, culturally diffused to us. Yeah, culturally. But to me, culturally is like passing on stories from generation to generation. I just didn't assume the prairie folk were an educated folk is all. I know. Is that crazy? I'm sorry. It just seems, I don't know, guys. I'm not if your only job is to work the wheat fields, what do you need books for? I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's why I thought that way.
I just found out like 3 days ago that Pennsylvania is not a state. Or
Yes, it
Philadelphia.
is.
Oh, Philadelphia, is that a state?
No, it's a city.
Yeah, I thought Philadelphia was a state. So I don't think that I'm qualified for this tonight.
Hey, we're having fun. We're having fun.
Are we?
They didn't need a radio because they could read. Come on, they couldn't all read. Like maybe one person in the city could read, and they would gather around and do story time in the mornings at the city square, where one person would read the news, and everyone else would then go work the wheat fields.
How do you know
I'm
this? How do you know they gathered for a pancake breakfast in the town and one person could read? I think everybody
just
probably
seems-
could read.
It seems like the natural way it would have occurred. Like they're going to teach everybody to read. That's a lot of hours that could be spent working those fields. That's all I'm saying. Okay. DS LRH had a more accurate history of knowledge than this.
He's got us beat. Dang.
Before newspapers, they printed smaller pamphlets. That makes sense. OMG, you're literally scaring me about this prairie stuff. They weren't in the middle of nowhere. They farmed and lived in small towns. Have you driven through middle America? It is the middle of nowhere. I've got family in Nebraska. I've been there. It is the middle of nowhere. Quite
It is pretty
literally.
much. Yeah, it is.
Cat ACDC fan. My daughter is hard of hearing. You don't say deaf. You don't say deaf anymore? I did not know that.
I mean, working in senior living, they said it all the time, but
I did not know that.
you
Obviously,
just
Barbara,
say
I'll take
hard
your
of
word
hearing,
for it.
Barb?
But
Yeah.
is it, what's the right word? Is it improper to say deaf? I had
Improper
absolutely no
etiquette?
idea. Some people believe that the term people with hearing loss is inclusive and efficient. However, some people who were born deaf or hard of hearing do not think of themselves as having lost their hearing. Over the years, the most commonly accepted terms have come to be deaf, and hard of hearing. Huh. Okay, well, that seems
I
to
think it could go both ways. I mean, like blind would be visually impaired.
true. But like, I've never heard anyone say that you can't say blind, for example.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I would say blind, but I worked in eye care. I
Interesting.
worked in ophthalmology.
I'm looking at some Google results. That's interesting. I'd never heard that. However, some such terms, such as hearing impaired. See, here it says a whole list of ones that can be considered offensive, and it even includes hearing impaired. It's hard to know. But Barbara, that's very interesting. I'd not heard that before.
I hadn't
I'll
either.
definitely keep that in mind. RH, I am a teacher, and Braille is still taught to students that need it.
I knew it.
I guess I assumed that it would be a dying art. Like, in order to continue to teach Braille, you have to have people who can teach it. I've just never in my entire life met someone who knew Braille. Now, and it would have to be someone who themselves wasn't blind, right? You'd have to have someone who could see and knew Braille. Can you teach Braille to blind people if you yourself are blind? I guess you probably could.
You
never thought of
probably
that.
could. Yeah, I think you probably could. You'd have to be a little bit of a
Wow.
genius, unlike like
I've
we
never
couldn't do it. Clearly, we don't know
I've
anything. but-
never thought of these things before. Okay, Sandy, my mother taught visually impaired students for over 20 years. I want to recommend to Aaron, read a book about the development of Braille. Well, I couldn't read it. I have to listen to it because I only do audiobooks these days. But that would be very interesting. I'd almost rather watch a documentary about it, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Did Aaron learn history from Mad Libs? I wish.
I don't know why
I probably know.
I don't know why everybody's hating on Aaron. I don't know anything. Like I feel like I'm worse.
If I learned history from Mad Libs, I'd probably know more of it than I do. Aaron, love you, but people are still blind. I know people are blind. I just didn't know if there was still a reason to teach them Braille, because we have audiobooks for everything. And we have computers that can read to you anything that you want to read. I just figured it'd be more clumsy as a blind person to read through Braille than to utilize audio technology. That was my assumption. Not that there weren't blind people, for the love of God.
And I saw someone comment that there's Braille at ATMs. That's right.
I know. I just figured that was grandfathered in, because have you ever seen a blind person use Braille at the ATM?
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, they made them that way, and it's more expensive to change the
my
molds or
God.
whatever. I'm just telling you, that's what I assumed. That's what I assumed. Blake Reed, the main difference is just the fact that they dressed and talked funny. They were advanced enough to make whorehound candy.
What?
I know that much for damn sure. Oh, we've reached Dianetics After Dark now.
I was going to
What
say,
you talking about, Blake Reed?
this took a turn. This took a dark turn.
Are we gonna have
What
to Google whorehound candy? Good Lord. Gonna get me demonetized now. Oh, it's actually a thing. It's a thing. White whorehound. It looks like it made
What'd you
from
just call me?
honeysuckle.
You white whorehound, get out of here.
Get
what
on
is
out. Get out. We don't like your kind around here, you white whorehound. That's terrible.
Now, what is it again? I don't know. What is it? It's made from honeysuckle. It's a candy.
I'm looking at a picture that looks like it's made from honeysuckle, but I'm guessing there was actually a plant called whorehound. I just don't want to keep Googling it, is all.
Okay. So
I
it's
don't need that in my I don't need that in my search history. Google will start, serving me ads I don't need to see.
Oh my God.
Laura Ingalls Wilder was in the books and wrote the books. How can she be in the books if she
used herself as the
wrote
character?
the books? Is the main character named Laura? I'm so
Aaron,
confused.
You're asking clearly we know we should get off this topic. We don't know shit about it.
Helen Keller is real.
Existed.
I know Helen Keller is a real person. I just don't believe she was actually fully blind and deaf. That's all I'm saying. I've seen videos about the Helen Keller conspiracy, and they were very convincing. That's all I'm saying. I think she could see a little bit. Like Stevie Wonder is not blind. You know Stevie Wonder's not fully blind, right?
No, but I'm
Stevie
not surprised.
Wonder is not fully blind, but everyone thinks that he is. I think Helen Keller was in the same boat. Not literally the same boat because they weren't alive at the same time.
I don't know who Helen Keller is. So
plus they read, not drank. Oh, I promise you they drank. Unless were they so religious that they didn't drink? That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe. Those people drank like fish and you know it. Okay. Ren Ben, I made the live just in time to hear Aaron's take on dictionaries. And it made me spit my bourbon out. I was laughing so hard. There are YouTubers who are blind and read Braille. I cannot believe I've never seen those videos because I would watch that shit all night long.
Speaking of YouTube, amazing. This video tonight, I bet is going to go viral, and some asshole is going to be like, "This is why kids need to stay in school. Look at these two idiots." And they're going to crack the little egg. This is your brain. This is your brain on Aaron and Reese.
This is what happens when you sign a billion-year contract at 12 years old. You don't learn that they had dictionaries on the prairie.
It's bad.
I thought I'd seen that show, but maybe I never watched a whole episode. Aaron, please rename this video to ex-cult members talk out their butts about the prairie folk. Yes.
Oh my God.
My cousin's daughter is blind and is learning Braille. Wow.
Aaron, you're the only person that's shocked about Braille. I knew it was a thing.
I know it's a thing. I just didn't know they still taught it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I you know what YouTube hole I'm going down tonight. I'm
concerned.
This is great. I'm learning amazing stuff here. This is part of my recovery. Stana rhymes with Donna. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote books about her life. Reese, there is a Laura Ingalls Wilder historic house and museum in Mansfield, Missouri, near Springfield. So
you don't say. I'm going to Springfield here soon.
She actually wrote books while on the prairie. I would have previously considered that impossible. I am learning new things here this evening. Aaron, I can clear this up. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote about her own childhood on the prairie in the 1800s. Her books were autobiographical.
Yes.
Wow. I did not know that. Okay. I also only do audiobooks. The Little House books is on Audible. The first is Little House in the Big Woods. All right. I'll check it out. My favorite videos on this channel are with Reese. Yes. That's why we do
Not
so
after
many
tonight.
Molly Burke is a blind YouTuber, has videos on Braille. It
cool.
blows my mind that anybody can learn Braille. So I'm going to have to watch these videos. I am fascinated now. Okay. Blake Reed, no, you're right. But when I say cultural diffusion, I mean their theories and applications were tools that were culturally diffused to us. So, i.e., from Egypt, we got first concepts of geometry. Yeah, okay. I think I get what you're saying there. We are learning. My grandpa met Helen Keller. Okay, really? Well, she was alive in recent history. Like it's not like ancient history. That's recent
I don't
history.
know who
Like,
the hell Helen Keller is. So
she was blind and deaf and learned
was she in the was she
to
in
speak.
the
When was Helen Keller alive? You think I'd be able to get an easy answer on this? Okay.
Was she one of the people who saved all the Jewish people?
No. So Helen Keller was born in 1880 and she died at the age of 87 in 1968. So that's recent memory. I just think that, like Stevie Wonder, Helen Keller could see a little. That's all I'm saying. I don't know for sure. I just suspect. Susie Q, how did you guys get on this subject? I do not remember.
I don't know, but I think we need to get off of it. Got a lot of problems.
This is fun. Barbara says, that's what she says. She corrected me when I asked. She's worn hearing aids her whole life. She also goes by they. It's hard to get terms correct these days, even if you didn't grow up in a cult. Yes, that is very, very true.
That's true. Things change.
The Encyclopedia Britannica has been around since 1768. See, I knew that. I just consider that the British were a civilized folk and us Americans that, they kept the education in the cities and that, they taught everyone in a farmhouse in the prairies. I understand that civilization existed, but America's only been around for like a few hundred years, guys. Okay.
Anne Frank. Somebody said that was Anne Frank. That's right. Anne Frank saved a bunch of people.
Anne Frank was hiding from the Nazis. She wasn't saving people.
Oh, well, I don't know. I thought Helen Keller was a part of all that.
Helen Keller was active on the Underground Railroad, actually, from what I understand. The chat's going to go crazy now that I said that. Okay, so the Pony Express delivered mail full of letters. Oh, that's right. Guys, it's not that I thought they couldn't read. It's that I thought they didn't have dictionaries. Okay, I don't know why I assumed that. I didn't think they were illiterate. Okay, I just didn't think they had access to dictionaries.
I feel like I should just click mute.
Laura Estrada, I'm a special needs teacher. Please listen to podcast on the disabled. Is there a particular one? I help teach like a regular teacher. Now, special needs teacher is not the same thing as teaching blind kids. That's a totally different thing. But if there's any specific podcasts, I might check some out. Jeannie Haupt. My great aunt was blind and read Braille. She taught me how to read and write it. What? So we could send each other letters. Blind people can teach Braille.
How would you send a letter in Braille?
I couldn't even imagine. It seems to me to be, I could imagine more easily learning how to read and write Mandarin than how to read and write Braille. It is so beyond my concept that I've never even conceived how it was possible. I got to watch these YouTube videos. You know what they say about assuming, faux show. Sometimes the power goes out, Aaron. You can't always have the computer read to you. Well, yeah, and when the lights go out, you can't read a book either.
That's right.
Emma Demonstrate. There was also a very popular TV series in the 70s based on the books starring the late Michael Landon and a young Melissa Gilbert. Oh, the TV series is the only reason I know anything about Little House on the Prairie. I didn't even realize they were books. I mean, honestly, I thought it was just a TV show. Donna Rose, I think your problem started with your definition of people on the prairie. It could be. It's been so long. I don't remember where we got off track. Blake Reed, whorehound can't. Back with the whorehound.
Again, Blake.
Whorehound candy is the best hard candy ever. And when I read Little House on the Prairie in elementary school, when I read Little House on the Prairie on the elementary school, my teacher would always give us a couple pieces. You can get all kinds of flavors from Tractor Supply. Go get some. I have never heard of this candy, but now I'm fascinated.
A lot of people were making fun of me, but I just want to say something. Wait, go back to hers. No, here it is. I just want to say that there's somebody out there that understands. And Frank were the same person. Okay, I appreciate that because a lot of people were like, Reese is a retard. Okay,
you can't say that. Back. Oh, you're gonna get it canceled, completely canceled now.
Really?
Barbara is the one that said I never felt smarter than I do right now.
I don't blame you guys.
Okay, so Barbara says most blind and hard of hearing people aren't 100% lost. That does make sense.
Totally. I worked in ophthalmology. A lot of people are not. I mean, you could be like 80% blind. Some people have macular degeneration where they only see the outer stuff, glaucoma. You only see tunnel vision. Yeah.
Okay, but you realize most people think Stevie Wonder is completely blind. Shaquille O'Neal has told a story of the elevator door opening, and Stevie was in the elevator, and he said, "Hey, hi, Shaq," and he's like, "What? How'd you?" Like he knew, he could see enough to know that it was Shaq. Now, maybe he just saw an image of a, 7-foot monster getting in the elevator and he thought, who else could it possibly be other than Shaq? But
I have no idea if the guy can see or not. I wouldn't know.
Who's Stevie Wonder?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he can. If you throw him his phone, he'll catch it.
What? Lisa, how do you know this?
I know. I heard stories, man. Okay, Lisa Falterstack. The stories were stories that her mother told her, not read her. See, she lived a good amount of time. I feel like this contradicts everything we've already read. What stories were stories that her mother told her?
I'm really lost, and I won't use the R word, but a lot of people are thinking I'm stupid.
Someone is spreading dangerous misinformation about Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is totally blind, born premature, and had retinopathy of prematurity. The retina becomes detached and never reattaches. He never had sight. That's what they want you to believe. Okay.
Why are you so against this man being blind?
It's not me who has personally claimed this. It is other people who've worked with him who have said, he's not really totally blind, right?
That's crazy.
I'm just passing down stories from generations. Okay, he never had sight, wasn't treatable at the time. My dad is an ophthalmologist. Well, I believe this is probably part of the truth. Blake Reed. You guys aren't stupid. You're just interesting. Yet you get to have a ton of conversations like this you get to have conversations like this one all the time. You are the kind of friends people like me want for that reason. Well, that's very sweet.
I love Blake.
That's very sweet. There's a difference between being stupid and uneducated. And when it comes to the history of the prairie folk, I am obviously uneducated. And that is
I'm both.
What? No, you have a lot of good knowledge. You got a lot of good knowledge in that head. She wrote the book in her senior years. Does that mean her senior years of high school or like her elderly years?
Well, apparently there was no high school then, right?
And if she could write the whole time, why did she wait that long in her life to write these stories down? You see, these are the hard questions that people aren't willing to ask. Just watch the damn show, says Lisa. I swear to God, I thought I had seen this show. I mean, when I was a kid, it was on TV. My wife's infatuated with the like it's like she was raised on that show. Hello, Scientology creepers. Who are you talking to? I teach history. You guys are killing me. Well, I wish you were around teaching us history.
Scientology creepers. Is she talking about the PI?
Probably. Oh yeah, probably.
Okay.
Shelly, I wish you were around to teach us history when we were working for that cult.
Yeah, we don't know it.
Blake Reed. Helen Keller was deaf and blind and became a school teacher, I believe. I could be wrong. This is off the cuff, but the way she openly described her experience is truly haunting. Yes. If there's a documentary, I'm shocked I haven't seen an actual documentary about Helen Keller because I know there's probably been a bunch. Yes. Stana rhymes with Donna. People who are blind don't just see black. They see varying degrees of shadows and light. Yes. I believe I already understood that. I mean, otherwise, when you see people walking with, I don't know what the name of the stick is, but you know what I mean? The stick that blind people. I've always thought that if someone was 100% blind, that would not work. Like Meaning, I'm sure there are people who are 100% blind and they still get around. They manage to get around. But when I have seen people walking by themselves, aided only by that stick, I've thought that looks completely impossible if you could literally see nothing. Like I've never truly understood how people were able to pull it off. So it makes sense to me that most people who are legally blind see something. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Oh, I feel like this is an episode of Schoolhouse Rock. I don't know what Schoolhouse Rock is, guys. I grew up in a cult. I'm sorry. OMG, learn some history. What do you think we're doing right now, RH? We are learning history. Evelyn Lee Barney, Aaron promised to try Whorehound candy on air. Let's do it together, Reese.
All right. Get us some.
Okay.
What kind?
Whatever. Any flavor. I'm good.
All right.
Tony Shooter says Scientology called and they want you back after this call. Oh, the phone call. Okay. Okay. Using my first super chat to tell Aaron to stop. As a deaf person, I can't tell if he's being a smartass or not. But if you're deaf, how do you know what I'm saying? There's no live transcription on this video.
Oh my God, Aaron.
No, there's no live transcription.
Just keep digging, man.
The video.
You just keep digging. I tell this to Huxley.
That's a totally natural question to wonder about. Are you telling me that YouTube is generating an accurate live transcription of this video? Do you know how many complaints I get that I don't have closed captions on my video? And I say, yes, I do. It just takes a long time to process. Anyway, never Frenzy. I'm not, okay, I'm kidding about, well, no, I'm not kidding. It never occurred to me that anyone on the prairie would have a dictionary. It just never even crossed my mind, guys. It's not like I've spent many hours thinking deeply about the subject, as you can probably tell. I'm just saying it never occurred to me. All right, Kitty Lou, you want to be mind blown. How do blind people use cash without being ripped off? Bankers will fold each dollar a certain way to ensure accuracy. I don't understand.
I don't either. And it was nice meeting you all. I feel like I'm going to lose every subscriber I've ever had. So,
oh my God, look at this.
Reese is real dumb.
You can read Braille in the dark. Actually, that's a huge advantage to reading Braille, as long as you have feeling in your fingers. Also, there are special Braille typewriters that punch the corresponding dots into the paper. How have I never seen these machines in my 43 years on this earth? That is incredible.
I think that's an easy question. I think there's a lot of things that you've never heard or know in your 43 years. I think we both are far more behind tonight than I realized.
Sue Ellen says, Reese, run, save yourself.
That's, yes. I'm sad.
Farmers are exhausted. They sleep. They don't drink, even today. Farmers don't drink. Come on. Everyone drinks. Come on.
I don't know I don't drink. I drank with you for the first time having a half of a White Claw.
You say that, but then you talk about sipping margaritas all the time. You just don't drink excessively.
Okay, yeah, when I first maybe turned 21, going to Pound Town with strangers, that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh my God.
Oh my, that shocked you after everything you've been talking about? My sweet stars.
Oh my God.
Get it right. Get your life in order. Get your money
right.
Thank
you, Emma. We're here for you, Emma. The chats. I'm trying to get through the chats. They just won't stop. Jean Haupt. Helen Keller lost her sight and hearing at like 2 years old from scarlet fever, I think. That's why she could talk. 2 years old. 2-year-olds can't talk. That's why she could talk. She was totally blind and deaf. Oh, she lost her sight and her hearing at 2. Okay. So I didn't know that. But 2-year-olds cannot talk. That's that right? Okay, well, but it's how she was.
Ones can.
Only if you skip the implant station and the forgetter box. I don't remember my 2-year-old speaking. Do you?
2-year-olds can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm really worried about you. 2-year-olds can talk.
Spirited Dragonfly. I have 2 friends on YouTube that are blind. They have wonderful channels about makeup, and they are great. That's awesome. That's amazing. Shelly Bales, volunteering for duty, just hit me up. She was the history teacher, right?
I think so, yeah.
Shelly was history teacher. Donna Rose, watch The Miracle Worker. Is that the Helen Keller movie documentary?
That's what Jeff commented and said that.
Okay, Lisa Robinson, watch Miracle Worker about Helen Keller. If it's on Netflix or YouTube, I can watch it. If it's on any other platform, I cannot be bothered. Ren B. So can you send me if you find it, can you send me a link, Reese?
Find
Oh my
what?
gosh, you need to YouTube Schoolhouse Rock. That doesn't sound like my cup of tea, I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, Mystic Wolf. That's why blind people tap the stick. They listen to the sound and also swing the stick back and forth for obstructions. I've seen what they do. I just can't believe it works. It seems like magic to me. Sarah Wynn, y'all should do this more often. Y'all getting tons of super chats. Not dumb at all.
Genius.
So we can just pretend to be really, really stupid and say a ton of
And
ignorant
people will
things,
pay us
and
to
the
correct us.
internet will want to fix us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh my God.
Okay. Blake Reed says, this is a real kicker. Did you know there's a disorder some people get when they experience sudden long-term blindness that actually causes them to hallucinate? It's called the Charles Bonnet syndrome. I almost feel like he's trying to trick us, but I feel like this could be true.
I really don't know anything at this point. I can't remember anything before this.
A deaf person can read your lips in the live stream. Of course. Of
You didn't
course.
consider that?
It just, I mean, I wasn't thinking, Hey, based on the amount of people who email me complaining that there are no closed captions on my videos, when there are closed captions on my videos, it just takes a while for YouTube to generate them. It just didn't occur to me that that would be an option. But
I
yeah,
would
it makes
think,
sense.
yeah, okay, there she is, Never Fran Easy. I know her. I mean, I don't know her, but I love her. She comes over to my chats probably after tonight. She won't. But I didn't know that she read lips. That's cool that she can do that.
Who can read lips?
Our friend right there.
Pull
Look,
it up.
That's our friend who's deaf, who's hearing impaired.
Oh, is she the one who mentioned she couldn't tell if I was kidding? Holy shit, that is so cool.
Damn, Aaron.
No, listen, I have actually
on
honestly
board.
always wondered if I speak too fast. Now, right now, I'm intentionally speaking slower than I normally would. I have always wondered if I speak too fast for people to read my lips. Or if people who
You do
speak
fast. You are a talk.
What?
You've talked fast.
Well, and I talk slower on YouTube than I normally would. But I have actually, that's been a thought that's crossed my mind is I'm someone who speaks fast, and would it be possible to read for someone who reads lips to be able to read my lips? I'm blown away right now. I am absolutely.
Too, because she's amazing. She's very active in my chats. Like, we chat a lot. So I think that's cool that she can do that. That's a talent.
Wow. That is incredible.
Wait, hold on. She just commented again. I can always understand you both fine. That's amazing.
Oh my God. Again, that's like a fucking superpower.
Yeah,
I swear to God, that is incredible. There's a channel that I watch about sports called John Boy Media. Funniest sports guy ever. And he can read lips. So when umpires and baseball players and hockey players are jawing at each other and they're zooming in, but they're not running audio, he does voiceovers because he knows what they're saying. It's awesome.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Lil Alligator. Molly Burke, blind YouTuber, recently posted on Instagram that a fan sent her a letter in Braille made with sparkly rhinestones and a Braille Hot Wheels car. This is incredible.
This is
really
cool.
incredible.
Look at this. Look at this real quick. Look what she said. It's a brain correction. I had nothing to do with it. My brain did it.
Wow.
What a time to be alive.
So it's not even something she has to work on. She can read our lips as naturally and easily as we can hear words.
Yes. Look at what Barb said, because her daughter is hard of hearing.
My daughter has been reading lips before she even knew her alphabet. Holy shit. That is incredible.
Never Fran Easy is right, though. Think about it. If it's something that you are born with, you're going to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope Ric Flair isn't watching right now. I don't get the reference. I know who Ric Flair is, but I don't get the reference.
I don't know who Ric Flair is.
He's a wrestler, WWF wrestler, WWE wrestler.
Okay.
Old, but Hulk Hogan's age. He's an old guy. There are some blind people who have learned echolocation.
Echolocation? I don't know what that means.
That's like how bats can tell where they're going. Bats are blind. And they make the noise and they listen for the sound to come back.
And it like bounces off.
Yes. And I have actually seen some either news footage or documentary footage about people who have that ability as well. It's obviously not the same as like, it's not really the same as like a bat, like, but it's the same concept.
Is that the same as like sonar but underwater?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy Evans. Patty Duke was in the movie Helen Keller. It's very good. Yes. Blake Reed. Oh my God, on fire tonight, Blake. Also, do you know how Helen Keller? Oh, don't. I can't. This is a joke. I can't. This is too much. Blake, I appreciate the sense of humor, but I'm going to get canceled because when I was in grade school, we had our own version of this joke, and it was
I
different.
don't get it because I don't know who she is. It sounds awful.
She was blind and deaf.
I know, but what does that have to do with that joke? I don't understand it.
We're moving on. Please watch Schoolhouse Rock. You'll love it. I got to tell you, the title's a real turnoff for me.
I loved the movie. Oh, I'm thinking of School of Rock with Jack Black. That movie was hilarious.
Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock. No one's even told us what the damn movie's about yet. They just keep telling us to watch it. Matt's caustic comments. Aaron and Reese, your cult is showing. Yeah, no shit. We didn't get an education.
Yeah, Matt, it's showing really bright. It's really beaming tonight.
Red tar for me. Crappers, you guys make me laugh. Well, thank you. I mean, at least we're not making.
At least they're laughing at us.
We'll see how many subscribers I've lost by the end of this one. I don't know.
It's
I'm just being honest, you guys. I'm not.
You can afford to lose a few. I'm going to be wiped clean by the morning. It was nice meeting everybody, though. It was nice meeting you guys.
I'm gonna have to send my play button back.
It's good
you guys and Sterling need to watch Schoolhouse Rock for your love of movies. Why will no one tell us what this damn movie is about?
I thought it was a show.
Is this how they tell you how a law becomes a bill? How a bill becomes a law? Wasn't that Schoolhouse Rock? They teach you how a bill becomes a law. That's what I thought. As of this conversation, is Reese in Scientology? Oh, the phone conversation. She was secretly out of Scientology.
Yeah.
No, you basically told her on the phone call that you weren't a Scientologist.
Right. But I wasn't publicly out yet.
Right. True.
Yeah.
Helen Keller was blind, deaf, and mute. No, I'm sorry. I thought the whole thing with Helen Keller was that she learned how to speak even though she was blind and deaf. I thought that was the whole magic of the story. Am I wrong? I could have sworn that was the thing. She could not see, she could not hear, but she still learned to speak. That's part of the miracle of the story. Unless, shit, did I have that wrong as well? Like, if she was blind, deaf, and mute, then what was she known for? You see, I haven't seen the documentary. Your cult is showing real heart, Aaron. Yeah, I know. We don't come on here to pretend that we're things that we're not. We honestly don't know this shit. Regarding folded money for the blind. Oh, this is interesting. $1 folded hot dogs. $5 folded left corner. $10 folded right corner, etc. That way the blind person can feel in their wallet.
Oh, that's
what is a folded hot dog? Oh, just folded the long way. Maybe.
Okay. That's interesting.
Wow, and the bankers would know to do that? That's incredible. Keela McDonald, thank you both. I needed to laugh. Love you.
Glad you could laugh, Keela.
I just Googled it. Abigail S. says, and Miracle Worker is on a number of platforms, YouTube being one of them. I didn't see Netflix on the list. Okay, good. Awesome. Red tar for me. Lip reading is a necessity for me. I am 75% hearing. Red tar for me. Are you one of the people who's emailed me about the closed captions? If so, well, probably not, because you can lip read. Every one of my videos,
yeah, but I bet it helps.
Every one of my videos automatically will generate closed captions once the live stream is over. It just takes a while sometimes. Matt's caustic comments. Please check out my Happy Days L. Ron Hubbard Photoshop posts. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote in the 1930s and 40s about her own childhood in the 1870s. Her own daughter was a writer and encouraged Laura to write. Well, that's nice. Tennessee Treasure Finder. My uncle was blind and had a Braille watch.
That's cool.
How would that work, though? if the hand's moving around it.
There has
And-
to be a way.
Okay, that's
awesome.
Wow. Okay, Barbara says, I've got the Schoolhouse Rock CDs. What is it with school? Can you please Google this shit? Okay, let me look at it. What is Schoolhouse?
Isn't it a
Rock.
show?
It's an American interstitial programming series of animated musical educational short films. You lost me at interstitial.
I don't know what that means.
What is the purpose of Schoolhouse Rock? If you don't know how many years ago that was, you may not have watched enough Schoolhouse Rock. Like Sesame Street, which had premiered on public television 4 years earlier, Schoolhouse Rock set out to use catchy music and friendly visuals to teach kids about things. It is Schoolhouse Rock that how the bill became a law. I saw that shit.
Interesting.
Okay. Michelle
I never saw it.
Carpenter. The Chiefs are up. Are the Chiefs playing right now?
No idea. I don't watch, but yeah, probably.
I thought you watched football.
I don't watch football. I don't even
Why
you
did
think
I
I
think that?
understand it?
Oh yeah, the Chiefs are up
After this
16-0
conversation.
against the Chiefs are up 16-0 against the Broncos in the third quarter. Go Chiefs. Reese is
Righteous.
awesome. Discord is popping. Scientology sucks. Make sure to sign the petition to end Scientology's tax exemption. Goal is just to get more signatures than there are Scientologists.
Right
Sounds
on.
great.
Thank you, babe.
Hi, lovely Reese. We would never leave you guys.
That's funny you say that because I
Aw.
just saw a bunch of people in the comments going, I just unsubscribed from Reese.
No, you
And have a
didn't.
good night. Yeah, I did. I don't care. It's okay.
Oh my
It's for the
God.
best.
Peace, dog. Schoolhouse Rock short flicks that aired Saturday mornings and taught things like how a bill becomes a law. Yes. Blake Reed. Dang, I was thinking School of Rock too, Reese. Schoolhouse Rock is a show, not a movie. I was thinking of Jack Black's movie too. My bad.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Schoolhouse Rock is a cartoon. Schoolhouse Rock is a cartoon series they showed us in school, and it was on Saturday mornings as well. It taught history, grammar, science, math through songs, and it is the How You Pass a Bill cartoon. Rural ST lawyer. My husband has some hearing loss. He always says, stick your lips out so I can hear you. That's amazing. L. Ron Howard photoshops Richie Cunningham. Opie. Matt, I did get your email and I forwarded it to Sterling since he's more likely to use the L. Ron Howard content. Blake Reed. Bonet. Oh, Bonet, like Lisa Bonet. Bonet Ramsey. Who was the little girl who was what?
Please don't go down another rabbit hole, Aaron. Please.
Who is the little
Just
girl
stop.
beauty queen that Mary Grace made her career off of?
Lisa something.
Bonet Ramsey, something Bonet Ramsey. Anyway,
Okay.
Okay, Bonet in Charles Bonnet syndrome is pronounced Bonet, and it is when the blind see false patterns or images of people, animals, buildings, etc. Yeah, that would be extremely annoying if you've already lost your vision and now you're. But I guess I don't know. Would it be annoying or would it be, like if you have a dream? You know, like if you're dreaming and some dreams. Stop. I'm serious. Would you rather Reese? Stop. I'm not making a joke. If I'm laying down with my eyes closed and I'm seeing nothing, would I rather see nothing at all, or would I rather see images that I know aren't there but are better than looking at blackness? I don't know. I feel like it might be okay. Reese, you're laughing is what's making this wrong. Reese,
I'm
come
just
back
laughing at tonight. This is awful.
Someone said, Eric, you need help.
Oh my
Can
God.
I just point out that we've been going for 2 hours and I don't think my battery's gone out once. Okay. Okay.
Oh, they hate me. Everybody hates us.
Okay. Schoolhouse Rock is a collection of 3-minute videos that originally was played between Saturday morning cartoons. What if you and I did reaction videos to Schoolhouse Rock about everything we're learning in these shows?
You know what? We should do that because I bet we would learn a lot.
Yeah. Michelle Carpenter, both of
sad.
you need to go clear interstitial. I thought interstitial was The
Don't start with
fluid
I thought.
was
Let's
the
not do this
fluid
again.
between your cells, the interstitial fluid. I thought that was like, it's the reason why you can't get a good blood draw from subcutaneous, because if a subcutaneous injection will just get interstitial fluid. I could have sworn that's what that word meant. Now I'm
Yeah,
going to
you
look
could
it
have
up.
sworn a lot of things tonight, and I think we were wrong on most of the things.
I Googled interstitial fluid and I was right. Interstitial fluid is the body fluid between blood vessels and cells. Okay, now let's just look at what interstitial means. Interstitial means living in the spaces between individual sand grains. Michelle, I think you've got the misunderstood word here. Please remind me what the original context was of where interstitial was used. I totally forget. But anyway, I had it. What does interstitial mean, medical term? The space between cells in a tissue. All right. I just don't remember. Jean-Benet Ramsey. That's what it was. Yes. That's Mary Grace made. Mary Grace, is she the CNN or the news anchor? Grace, who is the Grace? Not Mary.
Nancy Grace.
Nancy. I could have sworn it was Mary.
You've got to stop.
Oh my
This
God.
is bad
hat,
for both of us.
I'm sweating my ass off because I'm wearing this hat. Usually I can naturally evaporate. The heat escapes from
I've
my
started
head.
sweating myself. It's not good.
Oh my God. Google Braille watches. They are neat.
I bet those are cool.
Wow.
God, he took me down with him, folks.
Wow.
I'm going to lose all my subscribers.
We've learned a lot tonight and it's been very valuable. I'm glad that people have been willing to share their knowledge with us, former cult members. To answer the question of whether it would be annoying or not, just watch the eye. How many things can I watch, Blake? I'm sure it would be more than annoying. Is the eye now that honestly, the title of that one has my attention. I would watch something called The Eye because it sounds amazing. The names of those other things we've been suggested to watch did not sound awesome. But all right, Kat and Maggie, we love you, Reese. Look at how much money I gave you so I could chew out a run. We actually can't tell who the super chats go to. They just all come to one feed.
No idea who goes where. But thank you, Kat and Maggie. You'll probably be my one subscriber by morning.
OMG, yes. Schoolhouse Rock reactions, please. This is actually a really, really funny idea.
I think that's a great idea. I would like to learn.
Yeah, we didn't learn this shit because we grew up in a cult. We're going to go back and redo our education by watching Schoolhouse Rock videos. If we can do it without getting copyright strikes, it would be actually a lot of fun.
Let's look into that.
Okay, Michelle Carpenter says it could mean in between, like, in between cartoons. So they would show Schoolhouse Rock videos in between cartoons. That makes sense. Schoolhouse Rock was in between other shows. See, interstitial. That's a $2 word. But look, I knew the definition of interstitial, but I didn't know they had dictionaries on the prairie. See, you pick some, you win some, you lose some.
Do you know I've never even heard of that word? I've never even heard. I don't think I've never even heard of it.
I knew what it meant. The ghost of Laura Ingalls Wilder is keeping your lights on since she had only candles. Okay. It's my favorite time of day, hanging out with Reese and Aaron. Thank you so much. Joyce Drager, I love you both. Ren B, interstitial has to do with small spaces called interstices. Interstices can be literal spaces or they can be figurative. All right.
Weird. Okay.
Never frenzy. I meant to send my first super chat to Reese. I didn't realize I was on Aaron's page. So here's another one for Reese. Aaron, get a history book.
You don't have to say it to him. We both know it needs to go to me as well.
Yeah. Reese, you're still at 13,000. Oh, you broke 13,000.
I did. Yeah. I'm really gaining a lot.
Congrats. The Eye is a horror movie where a woman loses her sight and then gets transplanted a pair of eyes from a donor who could see the dead and how they died. Well,
Blake, I don't think I'll be taking you up on that one.
I'm not sure if I would rather watch that movie or have to learn Braille.
I would rather learn Braille. I don't like that. I don't like scary movies.
Anne Hagberg, you can't blame someone for not knowing something they were never taught, but you two do make me laugh so much. Do your kids' homework with them. I stopped being able to do my kids' homework with them after like the 7th grade. But what I can do is I'm great at composition. So like I help my daughter with her college papers, but I cannot help them with their advanced math. I've learned a lot the past 20 years. And honestly, some of the homework they give these kids these days is incomprehensible.
Really hard. But, he doesn't have homework anymore. They do it all at school.
Wow. Love you guys so much. Thank you for this chat. Please do the Schoolhouse Rock reaction. Haha. No, totally. Seriously, we should do it. It would be absolutely
I'm up for it. I would love to.
Kenny, the editor. Blind people can tap the stick and use echolocation. The Schoolhouse Rock was a series of commercials that taught kids about things like laws, and counting it then became a Broadway show. Cool. Hilarious seeing Aaron descend into madness and Reese slowly losing her sanity. Love you both. Best live ever. Yeah, this live really took a turn for the better in the second half, if you ask me.
Do you really think so?
100%, I think so. The more fun you're having, the better it is.
I think I get more cringy because, Aaron, you're so bold. I am so embarrassed about the things I don't know. I was talking about this the other day on a live. Like, I don't know anything about our country's history. I thought Pennsylvania was a state, or Philadelphia.
Yeah. But
Is
you
that
were
a
honest
state?
about that. No, Philly's a city in the southeast
Okay.
portion of
Yeah, I don't know anything. I know nothing geographically, and it's very embarrassing. Steve Britton, you might want to get out of here, man. He's pretty highly educated, and I feel like he's going to be disappointed in me on this one. I really don't know anything, and that's embarrassing for me. Like when people out in the world talk about stuff like this, I clam up like I did tonight because I'm
for
very
real?
embarrassed. Yeah, I don't know anything. It doesn't bother you that you don't like know stuff? Well, you know stuff. You're much smarter than me.
That's the
Very
thing.
embarrassing.
I know a lot of stuff. It's funny that this is the stuff I didn't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll keep doing series of other things that I didn't know because it's never come up before. Like dictionaries on the prairie. Come on now.
Well, no,
Anyway,
that's
this has
not
been
unusual to me. I thought there were.
Yeah. See? They had fun.
Yeah,
I
it
had
was
fun.
fun. It was fun, guys. And what are you doing this weekend?
I'm doing what I do every day.
I know you say that, but then you don't have time for me. Should we do another audio or should we do some housewives? I think we should do both because it's really fun.
Do you have another audio?
I have 2 more
Okay.
of
Nice.
this specific phone call.
If Disney owns Schoolhouse Rock, Disney is the worst on immediately copyright striking stuff. This is my only attorney fun fact that I have today. Yeah, Disney, you can't put shit up from Disney without getting instantly copyright struck. That's why people ask me if I've done a reaction video to the Neurotology music video on Saturday Night Live, which is a spoof off of. I did, and it got not only demonetized, but copyright struck immediately. I had to delete it.
You can't share that video?
No.
That's
can't
too
even do a
bad. It's
reaction.
Hilarious.
Can't even do a reaction video to it.
You can't?
I mean, maybe you could, but you'd have to do like the entire 4-week appeal process. And it's like, it's not worth going through the 4-week process to publish a 5-minute video, you know?
Right. That sucks.
So,
while we're here, everybody, and there's almost 3,000 of you in here, if you so choose and feel like I'm worthy, maybe come over and subscribe because I have a feeling we're going to lose a big block of people.
here, let me pull up your channel
Reese
real
is a
quick.
dumb bum.
Hold on, let me pull up your channel real quick.
I'll never use the R word again. I'm sorry I used it, but I consider myself a real dummy.
Here it is. Bada boom. You can find Reese over on Relatable. Reese. I'm going to go back and do chapter breaks on this video so that people can find the funny parts and navigate through it. Because you know what? I will publish excerpts of this video as standalone videos so people can see the funny parts.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Are we going to release more stuff?
Yeah.
You got more housewife stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, let's call it a night. It's 10:30 on a Thursday. It feels like Friday.
It's late. Yeah, it does feel like
Tomorrow's
Friday.
the real Friday.
All right.
Guys, thank you for educating us tonight and filling in some of the gaps that were left in our childhood years. Important gaps, as you can see. We've managed to make our way in this world somehow without knowing about books, dictionaries, the prairie folk, and things like, do they still teach Braille? Apparently they do, and I'm glad to hear it. Guys, this has been a blast. Thank you for
Night,
hanging out with
guys.
us this evening. Thank you, as always, for everyone who watches until the very end. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe